Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is August 10th, 2010, and I'm Darko. Thanks again for joining me. This first video will be on the War on Terror, Liberty, Sovereignty, and it is by Webster Tarpley and is titled Fidel Castro Warns of Imminent Nuclear War. Admiral Mullen threatens Iran. U.S.-Israel versus Iran-Hezbollah confrontation builds on multiple fronts. I'm obviously not going to read all of this, but I'm just going to go through each little section's title, these little kind of bullet points that Tarpley sets out. And these are all things that I've covered in all of these videos I've been making. I'm documenting what Tarpley is saying in all of this. These are all things that over time build up a case towards the West, or, the U.S., Israel, and that instigating or whatever, just a conflict taking place. And I don't know if there's going to be a nuclear holocaust. I don't think so. But who am I to say that there would or wouldn't be? So I agree with like I mentioned this before. I agree with Stefan Molyneux, where I don't think that the elites are going to risk giving everything up, all their work, thousands of years of work, to achieve what they have, and then right at this time just use the nuclear weapons, where they'll have to basically wait and rebuild again from scratch. So I think it's too much to lose for them, but they will, and that's kind of the kamikaze option for them, that they can do it if they want to and they'll still win. And the first paragraph says, on July 21st, the present writer offered the evaluation that an attack on Iran by the U.S. and Israel was now emphatically back on the agenda after a two-year hiatus. More than 2 weeks after issuing that warning, it is possible to offer a second installment of evidence to buttress the original finding. The author considers that the evidence is now sufficient to confirm the July 21st analysis. The contours of the coming conflagration are becoming somewhat more distinct and give us reason to fear not just a Middle East regional war, but possibly even a world war with increasing danger with nuclear weapons will come into play. And the first one is the most recent, is Fidel Castro, who's been basically back from the dead and made the first big public appearance in a long time, basically saying, shit's getting ready to hit the fan, excuse my language. It says, Fidel Castro convokes parliament, issues dramatic war warning. The most dramatic and outspoken confirmation of the views expressed here on the 21st come from Fidel Castro, the first secretary of the Cuban Communist Party and de facto head of state for Cuba. Studies refer several times to growing war danger among the U.S., Israel, and Iran. On August 8th, the anniversary of the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombing from World War II, Castro took the unusual step of convening a special session of the Cuban parliament to discuss nuclear war danger threatening the peace of the world. Essentially, Castro called for the worldwide mobilization of peace-loving forces to avoid the worst, and included a special personal appeal to Obama. Like I said, I don't have time to go through all this, but some pretty good quotes in here of what Castro is saying, and so definitely check them out, because he's talking about in here where, if they do this, it's it's going to be bad, because right now we're in the current old social world order, and all it's going to take is for something like this to happen, and then they can instill their new world order, which is technically already here. But I understand what he's getting at. So he's talking about this. If the war breaks out, the current social order will abruptly vanish, and the price will be much higher. And Tarpley goes in and draws parallels to 1914. U.S. media blackout on war news like the summer, said the controlled Wall Street news media in the U.S. did everything possible to trivialize and denigrate and ridicule this dramatic warning. This next one is a flurry of incidents along the main fronts. This is all stuff that I've been covering with Syria, Lebanon, all of them. So it says the clash, which is materializing, pits a group of countries, including most probably the United States, Israel, and the United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and perhaps some others against a rival coalition, including the government of Lebanon, the Hezbollah organization, Iran, and Syria, joined by guerrilla forces in Yemen, Somalia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and elsewhere. During the past 2 to 3 weeks, unusual military incidents have occurred at the main flashpoints where these rival coalitions are likely to collide. Israel-Lebanon border shootings, a warning from Hezbollah, covered that. Japanese tanker attacked in Hormuz, and it was later reported that it was officially attacked. And of course, they're blaming Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda, the Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda network is taking responsibility for it. And at first, they didn't even know what it was. They just had a big damage in their hull, a lot of damage in their hull. They didn't know what it was. Hamas rockets fired from Egyptian Sinai. Covered that as well. Mullen admits U.S. war plan is ready. That's the Joint Chief of Staff's Admiral Mullen. And said, yeah, the war plan is ready. Iran Defense Minister, Mullen's threats fascistic. Obama, the war options monster. And don't forget, it wasn't just the Joint Chief of Staffs, but it was also the CIA director that was also talking about attacks on Iran are likely, and also that an attack on the U.S. is also likely in the next 3 months. So, Obama, the war options monster. Ahmadinejad, U.S. will strike 2 countries in the next 3 months. Talking about a psychological war. Iran Defense Minister Vahidi warns Israel, the divine plan. WikiLeaks and Assange, part of the war buildup. That's what Tarpley believes, that this whole WikiLeaks is controlled and used to build up support for operations in other areas, such as Pakistan and Iran. See? That's what he highlights. British Prime Minister Cameron, nuclear klutz. And then Shapiro, new 9/11 or new Oklahoma City needed to save Obama. Remember that. H.R. 1355, House Republicans demand aggressive war. This basically gave the green light to attack Israel. Venezuela threatened by the U.S. via Colombia. So yeah, the U.S. kind of using Colombia, or Colombia being a puppet government, or drug, basically a puppet drug kind of dictatorship. But yeah, you have that going on between Venezuela and Colombia. And remember, Venezuela sides with Russia and Iran. So, and then Hillary meddles in the South China Sea. I've covered that. And then you have North Korea. You got the U.S. and South Korea doing exercises, flexing their muscles. Where North Korea is just like sitting there gritting their teeth. And there's just not really a good situation over there. U.S. nuclear deal with Vietnam directed against China. So they're trying to use. We had this too. CIA veterans urge Obama to desist from aggression. And that's pretty much for that article. It's just so much in there. I had to at least cover those points. Iran-Saudi rivalry deepens. This is from August 11, 2010. For decades, the Persian Gulf region subsumed under a latent Sunni-Shiite divide. This next article is titled Afghan Militants Return to Arms. Militants in the Herat province of eastern Afghanistan who lay down their weapons in response to government offers of aid and amnesty are rejoining the insurgency after officials failed to deliver on their promises. This one is from Press TV, August 10th, 2010. UN Afghan civilians' deaths on the rise. The United Nations says the 9-year-old U.S.-led war in Afghanistan is claiming more lives by the day, with civilians continuing to bear the brunt of the conflict in the country. The report was issued on Tuesday by the United Nations Assistant Mission in Afghanistan. It says civilian casualties in the country have risen by 31% in the first 6 months of 2010 compared to the same period in 2009. This is from the Huron Daily Tribune, but it's actually written by the Associated Press, and it's titled China Landslide Toll, Death Toll, I assume they're getting at, rises to 700. Pakistanis flee. And it goes on and says the death toll from the landslides in northwestern China more than doubled to 702 Tuesday as rescue crews in 3 Asian countries struggle to reach survivors from flooding that has imperiled millions. And a Time News article is blaming the Chinese for their industry. They said it was too fast and not too haphazardly set up, and so that's why they're having the landslides. So according to U.S. Media, they deserve it. Pakistan's President Asif Ali Zardari returned home to a storm of criticisms after visiting Europe as his country was gripped by the worst floods in its history. His arrival Tuesday came as thousands of people fled a major city in central Pakistan as rivers threatened to submerge the area. Please join me in the second part of this War on Terror, Liberty, Sovereignty video series. Thank you.